Survivors we are, survivors we are. Are you ready for the journey? Clones Karim is the name, yes indeed, survivors we are.
Hi, Crown's Karim here. Good news finally, my bestie is free tonight. You can probably hear her in the background. Woohoo! We're going to watch James Bond tonight, so no spoilers. Where there's a will, there's a way. Now, I'm a qualified electronic engineer. I moved into IT in 1998. I still get contract work from time to time, and all those operations, even basic routines, were getting harder and harder. There came a point where quality of life was more important than a career path. So after a little while, I thought to myself, Dad's passed on now. I'm not really progressing the way I want to do. Things are getting harder and harder. Don't have much quality of life. So I decided to give that side of my life up. I can't physically do as much as I did, and I can't work within, certain things. Even basic routines I was finding difficult. So as a youngster, I would always find things to occupy myself with. I remember having this suitcase. I think it was my mum's suitcase when she came to England in the 60s. So it's an old one now, but I remember that being in my room, and I used to fill it with all kinds of junk, wires, electronic cables, bits of an old broken radio, TV bits, and basically it was my junk box. And I always found myself tinkering with things and enjoying those quiet days by pulling things apart or building something. So my dad was kind of a DIY guy. He knew how to plumb stuff. He was an avid gardener. Man, the garden was gorgeous. It was green. It had loads of flowers. He was really keen on. He used to watch Gardener's World. He had azaleas and roses and carnations and all manners of plants you could probably not even pronounce in the Latin names. He was pretty good at tailoring as well. He'd do my trousers and my brother's trousers, and do alterations to my mum's clothes, and even cut our hairs when we were kids. He was a kind of a jack of everything, really. He even made outfits for my son as well. He did upholstering, made curtains. He wasn't afraid to express himself in his home. Now, he used to work nights, and my mum used to work days, so between them they took care of us. My father was always home during the day, so we watched him do a lot of stuff for us. Cook, clean, tidy up, make sure the house was tidy, make sure we'd done our homework on time and all that kind of stuff. And he did a lot of DIY stuff, and I'd say me and my brother, we picked up a lot of his enthusiasm and his DIY prowess. We would often help him with his projects and that kind of stuff, but he's moved over to the other side now, bless him. But during my ill years, when I say I was kind of misdiagnosed with Crohn's and they'd got their medications wrong, and it was quite a while where I spent a lot of time at home, sort of, is it convalescing? No, convalescing is when you've had the operation, just basically being sick and being ill all the time. So I used to have to watch my dad kind of doing a lot of the DIY stuff on his own, and I was kind of sitting there helpless, not being able to do anything. So now that I've given up the IT stuff and the engineering stuff, like I said, I get the odd contract now and again, I find myself tinkering a lot at home with my own stuff, and I picked up a lot of his DIY stuff. So something needs fixing, I just get on with it. I like upselling, what's the other word? Upcycling stuff. That's what my son says. Hey, you like to upcycle, Dad? Yeah, I love to upcycle. I can find any old piece of junk and just put my hand to it. If the sofa was getting old and tatty, so I ripped the leather off of it and I reupholstered it, touching up the paint on the walls and building kind of DIY furniture for myself. And I love car wrapping, that vinyl stuff you can get, and you can wrap furniture up. I've done most of my furniture in the house and made things a bit more brighter and a little bit more fun to look at. And last year I built this extension on the side of the house. You know, something simple. It's only a DIY decking with sort of 4 basic walls and a plastic roof, but it's contained, and I put my pool table there, so it's a bit closer to me, and I can play a bit more often. And there's nothing nicer than playing pool on your own and trying to accomplish a certain shot, or potting as many balls as you can, focusing on that moment, taking yourself away from any other kind of stress. It's very therapeutic for me anyway. But back to the story. There was a time where I felt useless, but as long as I've got flesh on my bones and I'm not in the ground yet, I kind of persevere. Even on my bad days, I can pick up a piece of paper and do a little sketch for my next project, or try and think in advance of what I'm going to do next. There's always something to look forward to. So have hope, be focused, and where there's a will, there's a way. Corim out.
Survivors we are.